Welcome to today's online information session. We'll get started with the session in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Welcome to today's information session for our advanced program in sustainable management here at UC Berkeley Extension.
I wanted to start by thanking everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about our program. My name is David Brotherton, and I'm the Program Director for the Advanced Program in Sustainable Management here at Extension. And in addition to this program, I also manage our Smart Grids program, Construction Management, HVAC, and Facilities program. I have an undergraduate degree in atmospheric science, an MBA in finance and strategy, and a master's degree in carbon management. And I've previously taught master's level courses in carbon accounting, climate change, and business strategy at the University of Edinburgh. And I currently recently finished teaching my first course here at UC Berkeley Extension, and I'll talk about that class a little bit later. So in addition to managing the program, I also have the pleasure of teaching on the program as well. Really, sustainability environment, it is my true passion, and I'm really pleased to be able to talk about this program and let everyone learn more about the program over the next half an hour or so during this information session. Today we will start with an overview of UC Berkeley Extension. This will be especially helpful for anyone who is new to Extension and has not taken any courses with us previously. We'll then spend some time discussing the program itself, the structure, some of the core classes, how to register and complete the program. We'll also talk about kind of our typical students and the program benefits, and then we'll also dedicate some time at the end of the presentation to address any specific questions you might have. But I would definitely encourage you at any time during the information session, please feel free to type and submit any of your questions. We will attempt to answer them throughout the course of the info session, but any that are remaining we will address at the end of the session. Our programs and curriculum are academically rigorous. All certificate and professional programs are approved by UC Berkeley and are reviewed every 5 years with an advisory board comprised of a UC Berkeley campus faculty member, in addition to numerous executive level industry practitioners and thought leaders. We carry the same accreditation as campus through the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, and all students completing certificates here at Extension must successfully complete all the academic coursework with a grade of C or better and finish with at least a 2.5 grade point average to earn a certificate. We'll now spend the remainder of the session discussing our advanced program in sustainable management. And we're really excited because we recently went through one of those 5-year reviews and upgraded our program and made some changes from the program that it preceded. This new program is our flagship sustainability and environmental program here at UC Berkeley Extension. And our new program has retained many of the same courses as one of our older programs did, but we expanded and broadened the content to include an additional 5 classes for students to choose from. And really from the beginning, we set out to design a program that would best meet the needs of our students and the market demands and what employers expect. We focused on delivering a curriculum that provided state-of-the-art content. So some of the areas where our program will provide value for our students, we cover topics like environmental law and environmental regulation, carbon management or greenhouse gas management and business strategy, organizational change management, because as companies make changes and become more sustainable in the process, it often creates the need for an organizational change or behavioral change within organizations, and that's a very tricky process. We also have classes in environmental economics and environmental management systems, so it really covers the spectrum. And in addition to our superb educational content, we also recognize that given the diverse nature of the industry, it's really imperative to allow our individual students the freedom to choose the courses that best fit your individual interest and career objectives. And we'll go through some of those courses here momentarily. So I know we were just talking about the program flexibility, but we do think this is one of the critical components of the program here at Berkeley Extension, and this is something that I think the students, as we went through this kind of year-long program review, where we reached out to over 500 past and present students. This is something that was really important to our students, and they really value this ability to forge their own path and pick the classes that best fit their needs. Another key component of our program is our instructors are also industry practitioners. Oftentimes they'll have decades of experience to draw from. So our courses are interactive and focus more on applied learning, and a little bit less than your typical undergrad or grad courses might be more heavily theory-based. Ours are much more practical and dealing with applied knowledge. Our programs are also not cohort-based, so you will kind of complete it at your own pace, and you'll have the opportunity to meet many new individuals in each course. So you not only get an opportunity to network with dozens and dozens of people in our classes, you also get to gain insights and perspectives from these individuals who oftentimes work in different sectors, but they're tackling very similar issues or complying with certain regulations. So seeing this from other perspectives, from other students who work within the same industry but from different perspectives, it really enhances the educational experience. Our courses and program are open enrollment, and there is no formal application process. So we encourage everyone to start with a course, see if the program's right for you before you formally enroll into the program. And we'll discuss this process in a little bit more detail later in the presentation. I would also encourage everyone to ask their supervisor or HR representative about your company's educational and training benefits packages. Many of our students in the program receive either full or partial reimbursement for the course costs. So the program comprises a total of 10 semester units of core courses, and these courses can be comprised of either 1 semester unit or 2 semester unit courses. Each semester unit equates to 15 instructional hours in the classroom. So our typical students take between 5 to 7 courses to complete the entire program. If you take classes 1 per term, or sometimes 2 in the spring term, since it's a longer term, you can typically finish the program in 1 to 2 years. The following 2 slides will outline all of our core courses. And as I mentioned before, the curriculum structure was designed to be flexible. So we kind of shifted away from required and elective courses to just offer a longer list of core courses. So really this just means that you'll not be obliged to take any specific courses, and you can choose all the courses that you would like to complete. And the rationale for this approach was to allow our students to self-select the courses that best fit their interest and career objectives. For example, if you had already completed an undergraduate degree in environmental science, you might not want to complete our Introduction to Environment, Climate Change, and Sustainability course. Or if you're a career professional in the field of corporate and social responsibility, you may not value our environmental management systems ISO 14000 class as highly as some of our other core classes. While we do not have any required courses, if you're someone who is transitioning careers and do not have a strong background in the fundamentals of climate science and environmental basics, we would definitely recommend to begin with the Introduction to Climate Change, Environment, and Sustainability course. We also have a course called Principles of Sustainability. That's also a kind of a higher level overview sustainability course. I would encourage you to visit our website to learn more about any individual courses. I did want to outline a few of the courses And the first class, the Carbon Management and Business Strategy, this is a class that I personally teach, so I am a little bit biased. But anyways, this class really focuses on the key reasons why companies engage on the climate issue. So, while some carbon-intensive firms may be obligated to comply with existing regulations if they, have operations in markets that have, mandatory compliance regulations like California or the European Union. Other firms might just be seeking, to disruptively innovate in markets with new and greener products. So if you can think about companies like Tesla or GE, some companies might just be primarily driven by brand image. So this course will examine, the cost and benefit of sustainability programs, examine life cycle emissions and life cycle cost analysis relating to implementing new sustainability programs. The course, Managing Sustainable Change in an Organization, this also focuses a great deal on how to develop and gain institutional buy-in to implement new sustainability programs, because change is always difficult for companies, and this course leverages many concepts and theories from the academic field of change management, but it is catered specifically to the implementation of new green projects, and it's taught by an expert who has a proven track record in this arena. And as I mentioned before, if you wanted to learn more about any of these other courses, feel free to visit our website and look at some of the course descriptions. With the exception of our Principles of Sustainability class, which is the only course which is offered online, our classes are primarily held in the classroom in our Berkeley or San Francisco campus, although we do occasionally run some classes in our Belmont Center as well. Our Berkeley Center is located about 2 blocks west of the main campus and is just a couple blocks from the downtown Berkeley BART station. And our San Francisco campus is located at 160 Spear Street, and it's also conveniently located near the Embarcadero BART, maybe about a block and a half away. Our courses are typically scheduled the same weeknight between 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. over a 5 to 10 week period. Really just depends on the length of the course, whether it's 1 semester unit in length or 2 semester units in length. And we also run a number of our classes over the weekend, typically run all day on Saturdays, and those classes can last between 2 to 4 consecutive Saturdays. And we occasionally can run courses on Sunday as well. So what became very clear from some of the internal research that we conducted in the student survey that we sent out to hundreds of our students was that our program attracts a wide array of industry practitioners. Our students are employed in roles ranging from environmental consultants, this happens to be the largest group, to more broader sustainable business roles. So, for example, if you think of people working green marketing or maybe sustainable supply chain specialists. Our program also attracts many dedicated CSR, sustainability and environmental managers. They're often tasked with integrating solutions across many divisions within an organization. We also find many policymakers, environmental specialists, urban planners also enroll in our program as well. So really across the board, we have a nice mix of students who work in the private sector, NGOs, in the public sector, and at all levels, from national to state to county to municipal levels. In addition to the diverse roles that our students are employed within, our students also come from a varied educational backgrounds. So they'll represent a number of diverse industrial segments, and at all different points in their careers. So we have people who are new to the industry, transitioning, or have spent 20 plus years in the industry. So we really feel that the diversity of our program is one of the biggest strengths of our program, and students have the opportunity to learn from one another and from the unique perspective that each student brings to the course. Before we move on to our question and answer portion of the session, I wanted to address how to register and earn an award of completion. We encourage everyone to enroll in the program when you're confident that the program is right for you, because the the program registration fee is non-refundable. We also encourage you to register for the program before completing your third course. This is because the program requirements are subject to change, and registering for your program kind of locks in the current program requirements. Like I mentioned before, you must receive a letter grade of C or better in all academic coursework and finish with at least a 2.5 grade point average. You'll need to notify the department after you receive your final course grade, and then we can process your certificate. Now we'll move on to the question and answer component of the online information session. So one of the questions that came in was asking if there's a specific order in which any courses need to be taken. And the answer to this question is no, there is not any specific order. None of the classes are prerequisites for any of the classes, so you can truly take them in any order that you see fit. Like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it is really important if you're relatively new to the industry, or if it's been a considerable amount of time since you've last taken a class in the environmental realm. You might want to start with our Introduction to Climate Change, Environment, and Sustainability class. That course would be a really good overview and refresher for anyone new. Also, the field changes so rapidly in this space that if you've been away for a while, it is quite valuable to take a class like that as a refresher. I can also speak to the class that I teach, our Carbon Management and Business Strategy class. I had taken about a 3-year gap in teaching that class from when I last taught it at my previous employer at the University of Edinburgh in the UK. And whenever I had to prep that class to teach it again, it took an enormous amount of time updating all of the content, because this is a very fast-moving industry. Another question that came in that's quite common is asking if you can substitute another class for our program, another UC Berkeley Extension class. So yes, the short answer to this, you can. It has to be done with departmental approval prior to actually taking the class. So if you see another class that you feel would provide a lot of value, for example, maybe there's a class in project management, or maybe a design-related class, or some other environment class that isn't formally part of this program, yes, you can substitute those. You just need to do it with permission. Another kind of related question has to do with whether you can transfer in any other academic credit from another institution. Yes, you can, but the caveat here is it must be a very similar class to an existing class that you're trying to transfer it in for, and you also must have gotten a B or better in the class and taken it within the last 5 years. And you should also bring any transfer requests to the department prior to registering for the program. Another question that came in is asking about what to expect in the classroom if you haven't taken a class for a number of years. And this is quite common. This is what a lot of extension classes are designed around. UC Berkeley Extension is the division of the university that focuses on professional and continuing education. So a number of our students that are coming to Extension, not just in this program, but all of our other programs, are often coming in after a long break from formally taking their last higher education class. So we realize that. And not only are most of our students working professionals, most of our instructors are also working professionals or practitioners in the field. So they're also quite cognizant of this issue. So I would say what to expect in some of our classes. The big difference will be they'll feel quite different than undergraduate classes. So it'll be much more practitioner focused, much more group focused. So we'll have a lot of class participation. We'll want to extract the value of all of the experiences a lot of our students bring to the classroom. Because unlike undergraduate classes, the classes you'll take at Extension, you'll be sharing your experiences with different classmates who have been working often in the field for a number of years. So yeah, we'll have quite a different feel than your typical undergraduate class, and our instructors are also obviously cognizant of students who haven't been in the classroom for a while, and so any of those concerns should be allayed. That's kind of how our classes are focused, and that's kind of our expertise. Another question was asking what type of time commitment is required outside of class. And really the answer to this, it varies considerably across different courses. It also can depend on the format of the class. So if you take a typical 2-semester unit, 30-hour class, and it's spaced over a 10-week period, you'll sometimes have an opportunity to spend more time thinking about the readings, contemplating everything. You'll have more time to do homework to bring back to class over that 10-week period. Where if you're in a condensed kind of forced consecutive Saturdays all day on a Saturday, you're compressing that time frame considerably from 10 weeks down to 4 weeks. So if you're taking classes on that more condensed time format, you might be expected to do a little bit more work in that time frame. Speaking to the class that I teach specifically, I would estimate that you would have to contribute about an additional 1 to 2 hours outside the class relative to each class hour that we meet. So there are pre-readings, and in my class we had a final project that was due several weeks after the class finished. So that did allow that extra time for you to really digest all the course content and material, and then have an opportunity to finish a final project. Another question that came in talked about what's the value of the program, and will it really help you transition into a new career. So if you currently don't work in the field, a program like ours would be very beneficial in kind of accelerating or allowing for you to make a transition into the field. I would really just think about and consider the other skills that you're bringing from your career when you're making a transition. So that's usually something that I will consult and talk to students about. So let's say you've worked, as an operations manager in a company for a number of years. If you're wanting to kind of make a career transition where you want a sustainably focused career, then you might be well suited, in a job in sustainable supply chain, or potentially as a sustainability manager who has an expertise in the operations of industries. If you've worked in the past in public relations, for example, you might be better suited in kind of a green marketing or more of a CSR role. So it really just depends on what skills you're also bringing prior from your career, layering on all the value you get from our program, and then taking it back out to the marketplace and trying to get a new job. Oftentimes you'll want to try to leverage some of your previous experience. Another question that was presented by one of the participants asked about what type of career guidance that the UC Berkeley Extension, or our program specifically, provides. So usually the short answer to this is, unfortunately, as in Extension, we don't have really high course fees. It's not we don't have quite the resources that main campus would have, or if you were in a dedicated master's level program. So most of the value, the career related value of our program comes from the networks that you'll build within our classes. And like I'd mentioned this before and touched on it in the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to meet dozens of different practitioners from all different facets in the industry. And also you can leverage some of the networks you get through our instructors themselves, who often have worked in the industry for decades. Speaking to a class that I recently taught, it had more than a dozen individuals in it, and literally there were students from virtually every conceivable background in that class. So when we did group work together, you could really tell, that students would feed off one another and share, their experiences from different perspectives. So the networking, there's a lot of group work that goes on in our program, which really kind of helps facilitate that networking process. But I would say that's really the biggest component of a kind of career enhancement opportunity through our program, as we don't have a formal department set up for career guidance. Another question came in asking about when you can enroll for classes and when you'll see classes available for future terms. I would always advise to go to our website, and that will show the most up-to-date class availability of all the classes that are offered. We typically will post new classes at least 8 to 10 weeks before a new session starts. So if for example, if our fall session would be starting at the beginning of September, usually at least 10 weeks prior to that, we will have all the classes available for the fall session. And the same, spring term typically starts January 1, and our summer term starts on June 1. So you can always expect that we'll have those classes available. And our spring term is the longest term, so it goes from January to June. So in that time, you'll have typically the most classes available for enrollment. And you can often take more than one class in a term and not have any of your classes overlap. So that can actually help you finish the program a bit faster. And I mentioned earlier in the presentation that our typical student takes between 1 to 2 years to finish the program. And that's if you're taking one class per term, or maybe even 2 in the spring. You can finish in that time frame. Well, it looks like that is all the questions that came in for today's session. If any additional questions were to arise in the future that you'd like to have answered, please don't hesitate to contact the department. Our contact information is available on the final slide. I would also encourage everyone to review the program page on our website. You can explore the program. You can look to enroll in any upcoming courses. We have course descriptions for all the courses. If you'd like further information on any particular one, you can feel free to reach out to the department. We'll be happy to provide any additional information. And again, I wanted to thank everyone for taking your time and learning more about the program, and I hope to see someone enrolled in a future class here at Berkeley Extension. Thank you very much.